All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into something that could totally change how you shop online. Amazon's new AI assistant, Rufus.
You know that feeling, right? You're trying to buy something and you have a super specific question, like this one. A regular search bar just gives you a bunch of links, and suddenly you have like 10 tabs open, trying to figure it all out yourself. It's frustrating. Well, that's exactly the problem this new AI is built to fix.
So, meet Rufus. The best way to think about it is, imagine the perfect store employee. You know, the one who's actually read every single product manual, scanned every customer review, and knows the answer to every question ever asked. That's what Rufus is supposed to be, that expert you wish was always there to help you out.
Okay, so let's get into it. What can this AI assistant actually do for you when you're shopping? Let's break down its main features.
And it's really flexible. You can go super broad, ask something like, what should I look for in new headphones? Or you can get really specific, like, what do I need to play golf in the cold? It'll even compare products for you, side by side, like drip versus pour-over coffee makers, and you can ask for recommendations. Find me the best dinosaur toys for a 5-year-old. But maybe the coolest part is when you're on a specific product's page. You can just ask a question like, is this jacket machine washable? And it'll pull the answer right from the details and reviews for you. No more hunting. And look, here's how Amazon themselves put it. This really gets to the heart of it. They call it a generative AI-powered expert shopping assistant. The key word there is expert. This isn't just some generic chatbot. So the really interesting part is, how did they build this expert brain? And maybe more importantly, how does it stay up to date?
All right, let's peek behind the curtain a bit. Let's talk about the tech that actually makes this whole thing work. I mean, how can one system know so much stuff and, give you answers you can actually rely on?
Okay, so the core of it is what's called a large language model, an LLM. But here's the twist. It's a custom one. It wasn't trained on, the entire internet. It was trained specifically on shopping data. We're talking Amazon's entire product catalog, millions and millions of reviews, Q&As, all that stuff. That's what gives it this really deep, fundamental understanding of products and how we as customers actually talk about them. But hang on a second. An AI model only knows what it was trained on, right? So how does it stay current? How does it give you an answer that's fresh and accurate today instead of just spitting out old information from a year ago? This is one of the biggest problems for AI in general.
Well, the answer is this really clever technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. The easiest way to think about it is this. Before the AI gives you an answer, it does a quick fact check. It goes and looks up the absolute latest info from reliable places, like the newest customer reviews or the current product page. This keeps its answers grounded in reality and stops it from just, making stuff up, which AIs can sometimes do.
And this process right here is why you can trust it. So you ask your question, step 1. Then before it even thinks about answering, Rufus goes and grabs the freshest facts it can find, latest product details, new reviews, Q&As. And then, and only then, does it combine that live data with its own base knowledge to give you a smart, and this is the key part, a sourced answer.
So having a smart AI brain is one thing. That's the software. But making that brain available to millions and millions of people all at the same time and getting answers back almost instantly, that takes a whole other level of just raw physical power. I mean, think about the ultimate stress test for Amazon's website. Prime Day, right? It's chaos. So the big question is, can this super complex AI actually handle that kind of traffic? Can it survive the Prime Day storm? Well, the scale here is just wow. To get through Prime Day, Amazon threw over 80,000 of its own custom AI chips at this thing, just to run Rufus. That is an absolutely massive investment in hardware.
And believe me, those chips were not sitting idle. On average, they were crunching through something like 3 million tokens per minute. A token is just a small piece of text like a word. So 3 million words a minute, that is just a staggering amount of conversation happening all at once. But okay, all these big numbers are impressive. But here's the one that actually matters to you. With all of that going on in the background, the time it takes for you to see the first word of your answer is less than a second. All that incredible power is just focused on making it feel fast and natural, like a real conversation. So how on earth is that even possible? Well, it boils down to 3 main things. First, they're using their own custom-built hardware, chips like Trainium and Inferentia, which are just way more efficient for this kind of work. Second, they have a really smart algorithm for balancing all the traffic, which boosted how many requests they could handle by 5 times. And third, they use a streaming system. That's why you see the answer pop up word by word. It makes the whole thing feel instantaneous, even though the full answer is still being generated.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second.
What does all this mean for the big picture? For the future of how all of us shop online?
Yeah, this really sums it up perfectly. On the one hand, you have traditional search. That's where you have to think like a computer, right? You type in keywords, you click through pages, you hunt for the info. But on the other hand, you have this new conversational shopping. You just ask a question like you would a person. You have a conversation. You get answers that are pulled together for you. It's a totally different experience.
And that right there is the fundamental change. We're going from searching for a product to having a conversation about a solution. It's just a much more human way to find what you're actually looking for.
So this leaves us with a really big question for the future. As this kind of technology gets better and more common, are expectations as shoppers going to change? Are we going to start expecting an expert AI assistant at every online store? Will it become the new bare minimum to even compete? It's a thought that could completely reshape the future of online retail.